Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I am delighted to introduce you to Debora Hollick. She, as you can see from her banner, is the Smash Through Mentor. Ooh, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? Debora is an author and a publisher. She's going to tell us a bit more about how she got to this stage and a bit more about her. So she knows her story far better than me. So tell us, Debora, a bit about you and how you got to being this author and publisher.
Well, thank you, Wendy. Thank you for having me today. It's such an honor and a privilege to be with you. How did I get to be an author and a publisher? Well, I'm a speaker as well. And I had a marketing business for many years, 20 some years, and it was very successful. And then COVID hit. We all heard about that little gift that we had. And I lost 100% of my income in one day, March 17th, 2020.
Oh, well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, 2 days.
Yes.
So it hit my clients, and you can't hold a client to a contract for when there's something like that, in my opinion. I couldn't do it. So what are you going to do? We just were all looking to the future. And an opportunity came my way through someone that I had met before, actually at a media summit. And he had reached out to me to be in one of his books because he felt that some of the stuff that I talked about would help him or would be good fit for his book. So I didn't, really think I could write all that much, but I thought, well, I got a few stories I can share. So I shared a chapter in that book. It happens to be called Listen to the Whispers or Get the 2x4. And that's kind of how I started writing more and more. And then I wrote for a magazine for a year, and I just continued being in anthologies. You and I are both fans of anthologies, right? Because I love the fact that we can give people, not only do I get the opportunity to share in other people's books, but other people can get the opportunity to be in my books. Yes. So that's how it all came about.
Cool. So what came first, the speaking or the writing?
Well, speaking, because I've been a paid speaker for many years. I kind of put it on hiatus for those many years that I was doing the marketing, although I was constantly speaking and training and, training my clients, training my contractors, working with my clients in different areas and, things like that. So I was constantly training and speaking and whatnot. It was just in a different capacity than being, the keynote speaker on the stage or doing that workshop, so to speak. So, yeah. So
forgive me, your speaking forte was in the facilitation and training arena.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have a strong sales background and, productivity facilitation and that sort of stuff. So, and yeah, we used to do the toughest part of a salesperson's job. So I know how to get indoors, and I know how to, let people help us talk to the right people. So it's kind of fun.
Very, very handy skills to have if you're in business.
Well, and it was wonderful because we were helping other people's businesses. They were helping us, of course, because we were getting paid, but we were helping people grow their businesses.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting for me. I had one of my clients that felt so strongly that I had helped them grow their business so much that they actually bonused me when they sold, because they said, we couldn't have sold the company without you. So I thought, wow, I mean, they paid me. They didn't have to bonus me anything, but they did. And I thought that was just wonderful.
What a lovely thank you. It's really, that's really precious, isn't it? Yeah, because you've made such a difference to other people. So this is where the Smash Through Mentor comes in, isn't it? Because you're hot on productivity, you're hot on sales, you're working with people to get rid of those blocks. Just get on with it.
Yeah, just get her done. That's people laugh because that's one of my favorite sayings, is just get her done. It's all get her done.
Here in Australia, we have GST, which is General Goods and Services Tax. I'm saying here in Australia.
We have it too. We have it in Canada too.
Yeah. So GST, I know one of my friends and fellow author, actually, she splits it to GSD, get stuff done. The S can sometimes be an alternative word. So yeah, she talks about GSD, get it done, get stuff done. So yeah, that's brilliant. So your zone of genius prior to the writing was speaking, facilitating, training around marketing, productivity, all those wonderful skills that business people need. Yes. And actually authors, let's face it, it's part of a business. So we need that as well. So thank you for sharing that. So speaking came first, then the writing. And of course, now you have a dual identity as speaker and writer. Actually, triple identity publisher as well. Because this is the conversation I've just had online this morning was around labels, how we identify ourselves. And one of the things I found that a number of authors start off with, I've got a message to share, got to get this down on paper. And then when you say, okay, now what? Oh, my work speaks for itself. No.
Don't we wish?
Exactly. How many people, how many physical or ebooks have you actually sold? Not many. Because people don't know about it. This is where you have to get out on stage, be it podcasts like this, virtual stages. You and I met through a virtual stage, and all in-person physical stages. So this is why we have this podcast, because it's taking authors from page to stage, where they can bring their words alive. You can tell I'm passionate about this. So you've got something coming up, haven't you?
I do.
Oh no, okay. Let's rewind. Tell us a bit about your WOW book.
Okay. Can
Have you got
show
it there
on camera? I do.
Please do.
You see it?
Love it. Life in WOW, nuggets of wisdom, openness, wonder, wisdom,
wonder, openness, and wisdom.
I'll get it right in a minute. Wonder.
So it's live life in WOW, and WOW, that's the acronym, is wonder, openness, and wisdom. So it's a little bit of a different book because the stories, there's myself and 14 other authors here, and they're all very different stories. And some of them are quite unique. Some of them are just heartbreaking. I mean, most of them all have an element to them that's got, some, where somebody triumphed over something, but everybody triumphed.
Yes.
And that's the fun part. And one of the things we do is we call it a WOW summary that the author does. And they tell us in 3 short sentences or 4 what they found in their own story to be the wonder, and what did it open them up to? What is the openness in it? And what is the wisdom that they want to leave the reader with? And then what we do, actually, Wendy, that I think makes us a little bit different, is we include the contact information for all of the authors. So readers pick a story, that's the beauty of anthologies too. You don't have to read it cover to cover. Oh, this looks good. Oh, I'm in the mood for that today. I'll just read that story. And it's fun, and it seems to be what people need to hear at the time. So we encourage our readers to get in touch. Mm-hmm. Did you like the story? What did you find the WOW to be? Maybe it's different. So we really encourage the participation and involvement of our readers.
Yeah, it makes such a difference, doesn't it, then? Because you literally can interact with your audience. One of the things with hang on, let's find it. This book was the first one I was involved with. And we had a book launch here in Perth. In Perth, I keep forgetting where I am, in Perth, Western Australia. And we launched at the State Library of W.O.W. And we had the 6 authors who were based in Perth reading as well as signing. And I got the opportunity to work with each one of them and give them a quick coaching session on how to read from stage. And the feedback we got from the audience was, it feels electric. And I've gone goosey remembering it now. When you actually hear the author's voice reading their own words, because the feedback we got then from people who had been in the audience was when they then went back to read the book, they could quite literally hear the author's voice in their head. Again, another reason for embodying and bringing your words to life. So, do you do audible versions of your books?
Haven't yet, but very much thinking of it. I don't know how many of the authors I could get to participate.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been thinking of even doing it myself. A lot of people have said to me, your voice would be, really good for reading the book and stuff. So I'm thinking about it. But right now we've got the new one coming out. So I'm kind of focused on that, and I've got a few things. So, but yeah, at some point I definitely would like to, because these stories are very powerful.
Yes.
In this book, very powerful. And one of the stories is about teddy bears and how teddy bears talk, and it's to do with memory bears. So it's very powerful. Another one is the author Michelle she's a doula, a birth and death doula. And she was in the labor room with a woman giving birth, and the woman's father kept trying to reach her. And finally she took the call, and her mother had died. And she was giving birth in the same time. So it's just this. When I was reading her story, editing her story, I literally felt like I was in that labor room and delivery. It was just, such a story about the circle of life, and just, what you just felt like, and that the mother that was such a trooper, and just, it's wonderful. And another story.
Giving us a real teaser.
Well, it is available on Amazon.
There you go. Let's put a little plug in there. Yes.
And it is available in Kindle as well. So there is a Kindle version as well as the paperback.
Great.
But
so, I mean, on that front, listeners, viewers, we will put all the information in the show notes. Don't worry. So that was your first book. You mentioned that you've got something open for authors. You're inviting authors into the next book. Tell us a bit more about that.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you. So we are doing the next book in the series. This is going to be a series of books, and they will all be Live Life in Wow. The next one is called Pearls of Wonder, Openness, and Wisdom. So it will be along the same.
Sorry, what was the first one?
The first one is Live Life in Wow, Nuggets of Wonder, Openness, and Wisdom. And this one will be Pearls.
Gotcha.
And so we will be constantly, I don't know. I'm not going to say how many times a year. I don't know. Might be one a year, might be two. I'd love to welcome your listeners if they want to be part of it. I'd love to have them reach out and contact me. There is a small investment because, as you and I both know, it's not cheap to do a book. A lot of people say, oh, you can just, do a book for free on Amazon. It doesn't quite work for absolutely free. You need a good editor. You need someone to do your cover. You need, people to help with the launch. You need so much that goes into it, right? And time. So it's, and I am proud to say that the first book was #1 bestseller, first day in several categories on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca. And I am extremely excited to be able to say this, especially because this is the authors, like they became #1 authors. I was already one. So it's still, it never loses the shine. Oh, it's just exciting every time, isn't it? You know that.
I did it twice last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And I'm an 8-time #1 international
Mhm.
best-selling author now, and very soon to be 10, because there's 2 more coming out, not counting my book and the book of my very own that I'm writing, which is a whole other story. But I forgot my train of thought now.
We were
So
talking
anyway,
about
it was so exciting.
the new
So we are
campaign.
still, the last time I checked, which was I think the 10th or 15th
Mhm.
of this month, we are still in the top 50 in 2 categories and the top 103 on Amazon.ca, and we were back up to #2 and #3 on Amazon.com in a couple of categories. So, and it's 15 months since we launched.
I was about to ask, when did you launch? So that's fantastic.
We launched December 10th, 2022.
That's fantastic.
Oh, it's just, to go back up that, I was like so thrilled.
Well
And
done.
and it's because of the author's stories. I give all the credit to them. One of the stories in the book is a gal by the name of Tammy Rader. She's lovely, the loveliest young woman. And she was given 2 cancer diagnoses 39 days apart. And she was under 50.
Oh golly.
And it was during COVID.
No.
So you can imagine. And you have never met anyone so positive and so uplifting and so grateful. And she's just a gem of a human being. She is just a delight. So those are the kind of authors that I attracted to be in this book. And I'm just thrilled, and I appreciate them so much.
Come. Lovely. Are you working entirely with women? The 2 stories you've mentioned so far were
Oh,
both.
no,
So it's
no,
tool.
no. In fact, one of them is a gentleman we both know,
Mhm.
is Stuart. And his chapter is about when he was living in Africa. And it's a stunning story about, being extremely close to large, big game animals, and just the dance, we'll say, of how it all took place. And again, that I was holding my breath because I was right there in that story.
Yeah. That's the joy of it, isn't it? You can really bring an experience to life when you read it. And as I said, if you can then get the author to speak it out, it can take you back in time, take you back to a situation where you are living it with them. And that's you as a speaker know this only too well. That's the art of connecting with sort of head and heart with your audience. So, powerful stuff. So do your containers last? How long does it take you to work with somebody from the idea, the concept from getting to start off with you to actually publication? How long do you anticipate that?
Well, our first book, we started in October, well, September, people were coming on board, but we actually started the process. It was in October, and we published December 10th.
My word, that's quick. Whoa. So were people pretty much focused full time on the writing?
No, I mean, the chapters aren't huge.
Right.
The chapters are, I'm trying to remember, somewhere around 1,500, 1,700
Okay.
words.
Okay.
So it's easy for someone to write that. Now, this time I'm giving, 1,500 to 2,500 words, so there'll be quite a variety. I like to have some shorter stories in the books because not everybody wants to read a long chapter.
Sure.
But people think that writing, 3,000 words or 2,000 words is a lot. It's not. You start writing and all of a sudden it just spews out of you, And so that's kind of the way we did it. And what I had everyone do was kind of put their stories down. We do classes, and we help with the writing and the ideas, and we brainstorm, and we make it a fun experience. I like my authors to get to know each other and do business with each other. And, we're a group that, I want everybody doing business with each other and helping each other out and promoting each other. That's what we want to do. And so with the book, we helped each other grow and do. And what I did is I had everybody submit their stories to me first, and then I went through them, and then we do a Zoom call to go over the story together. I would give them my feedback, in this on their chapter in a different color, so they knew all the changes, and then we talk about them. And I'd say, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And so then we'd go through it that way. So of course, some people were new writers. They needed some extra help. Other ones just handed them in and they went to the editor because they were that good. So it's a variety, but I want to make sure that everybody gets the help they need and want, and that the experience of working with us is fun. Like, I want them to have a really good experience, and I want them to be a #1 best-selling author, and I want people to want to read their story.
Yes, exactly. I mean, one of the things that I found when we did this one last year, our authors had 3,000 words, and it was enough to say, no, 3,000. That's it, no more, because you get the almost like the verbal diarrhea to start with. Everybody would just get, and you go, okay, great. Now, what's really important? What is the one message that you want to get across? And we'll put a story in there attached to that, please. Because I was editing right, left, and center, and that's before it went to the main editor. Because I would get on individual calls with people and go, now I know this amount of detail is important to you because you were there, but actually, is it important to me as a reader? Do I need to know the color of your shoes at that point? Unless you're Dorothy wearing red shoes and tapping 3 times. Not. Unless it comes up.
It's true. And people, one of the things I'd like to just mention to your listeners, when you are writing, and you can tell me if you agree with this, a lot of people say, oh, it's so cathartic to write, and that's good. And it's just like you say, my friend Mila says, just blather it all out on paper first. That's her line. And it's a good one, because that is a good way to start. Just blather it all out, but then be prepared to trim it down, because you are actually, if you're writing chapters in a book, or you're writing your own book, you are writing for the reader. Even though it's near and dear to your heart, and oh my gosh, when the editor decides they're going to take this out and that, it feels like they've just put a knife through your heart. So get ready, because it does happen. We've all had it happen. And at first you kind of go, oh, really? I really like that part. But like you say, if it's not enhancing the story, if it doesn't move the story forward, it shouldn't be in there, because your reader is going to they're going to go, I'm done with that. And we've all read books where we've gone, you know what? That could have been done in 8 chapters instead of 24.
Right? Why use 1 when 10 will do? No, let's focus on the 1.
Exactly. TV shows can be like that too, right? There's how many TV shows that you think, okay, you could have told us that in 30 minutes to an hour. You didn't need 3 episodes of that and repeating it 12 times.
I mean, I know that one repeats to make a point. However, there's repeating for clarity, and there's repeating to death.
Exactly.
Absolutely. With when we did our Mad book, the first iteration was get it all out on paper. Now, shift chairs. Have you ever done the 3-chair exercise?
No, I haven't, but it sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. If you're ever in a conflict, this is a coaching tip. You sit in one chair and you explain the situation as far as you're concerned. Then you literally move chairs and move perspective, and you tell the same scenario from the other person's perspective. You put yourself in their shoes. And then the third one, again, literally changing position, is an observer. How would the observer have witnessed both the situation? So you've got three different perspectives all on the one situation. And that is very powerful, because then you've got the, excuse me, you've got the protagonist, if you like, going, ah, and then they sit themselves in the antagonist's position and go, okay, I can see that would make a difference to them. So this is, it's not that sort of he said, she said scenario, but I get the authors to write it from your perspective. Now, what does your audience want to know? Put that in, put that slant on it, which is exactly what you've said. So yeah, the three chairs exercise can be a phenomenally powerful thing. It's a coaching tool.
That sounds great. I think we kind of do some of that, you know, but I just never turned it, you know, heard of it as the three chair. But yeah, we've kind of, you know, we do similar and whatnot. So yeah.
That extra perspective is the one I pull out when getting authors to read their books, or even talk about the experience anyway, because as you've mentioned, some of the stories can be pretty traumatic. And that's one of the reasons that a number of people say, I'm not going there, I'm not speaking about it. I'll well up. And there's a very real fear that they'll break down. So that's where, for me, the observer perspective comes in. And I work with speakers to get them to language what they're saying, still getting into the emotion of it, but without re-traumatizing themselves. Because I think that's a very important thing. Because otherwise, the more you say it, the more you're getting those new pathways working, and the deepening of the trauma. And for me, my duty of care as a speaker trainer, we're not going there. Let's get you out of that situation. Share your story, but don't re-traumatize yourself. Yeah.
And it's easier said than done.
It is.
One of the stories in the book is about a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
And the author was taken in by someone that had become a very close friend. And they still took them for the ride. And, you know, we're talking retirement funds here. It was devastating. But it's a wonderful story about how he turned everything around and what he's doing now. And so we can look at these things. I'm a real believer in WOW. That's why, you know, this is a perfect title for me, because I say WOW all the time. I think people might get sick of me saying it, but I do. It's just the first word that comes to mind for me. And I believe there's WOW in every language, some expression of it anyway.
Yes.
So for me, to have the WOW in it, and for people to be able to turn it around, like, even if, you know, yeah, we went through the pandemic, all of us in the whole world, we shared it together. And when you look at how many wonderful things came out of it, yes, there's tragedy, and, you know, it breaks my heart for people who lost people, and, you know, businesses and so many things. But when we look for the WOW in it, you know, what is the wonder of it? Oh, we all got really good on Zoom. We connected with people we never would have met. Would we have met, Wendy? No, I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada. You were in Australia. What were the chances? You know, pretty slim to none. And so many people that have become my close friends, and just wonderful relationships, and all the authors that I met, and you know, so that, you know, that just blows my mind. And then what does it do? It opened us up to want more of it. Let's do more. Let's now start talking on stages, live stages, but that doesn't mean we have to give up our Zoom stuff. Doesn't mean we can't still do our networking and have fun with all these wonderful people and meet a whole bunch more.
Yes, exactly.
And so what's the wisdom in that? So we look for the wisdom and we say, you know what? I've grown from this. I've evolved. I'm still evolving. And all of these people are now part of my growth and part of my excitement, part of just the good stuff in my life. Like,
part of your wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Brilliant. And it is the case, isn't it? However you look at something is what you'll see more of. And yes,
Precisely.
COVID was one of those great levelers that made us stop what we were doing in autopilot, brought things to a head, if you will. And yes, there were a lot of relationships that ended. There was also some pretty nasty domestic violence that reared its head because people were not able to get out of each other's way. And we're seeing some long COVID and mental health sequelae. But the point is, you will find what you look for. And I'm hearing from you that wow is what you look for, and oh boy, do you find it. So I am so chuffed that we've had this conversation today, Deborah, and that you've been able to share some of your wow with our audience. So in the winding up then, is there anything that I've missed that you want to share with us? We will come to our final words in a minute, but is there anything else that you'd like to divulge? Anything you'd like to share?
I'd just really like people to reach out if they're interested in possibly being in the book. Please buy the book. Let us know what you think. Leave us reviews on Amazon. We'd love to have them. And I have an affiliate program. So people can actually make some good money on it. And they don't have to be one of the authors in the book either.
Just do the introductions.
Yes. Just get the people on board that want to join, and it can be for the second book, the third book. It's going to be going on and on, because I really feel this is important. And so that's what I'd like to leave with.
When are you closing the container on volume 2?
Probably it's going to be a few months yet. I just offered it.
Okay.
So it'll be a little while. It's going to be probably, I was trying for June to get it out, but I've had some things going on in my life. So I think I've kind of moved it more to the fall now.
Okay.
And so we're going to have some time.
So third quarter of the year.
Yes. Cool. Yes. So we'll be.
The reason I'm mentioning that is because we have both North and Southern Hemisphere people here. So your fall is up.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that, but yes. So it'll be more probably around the September time.
Sure.
That we'll be looking to publish. So, we'll close for that book. But like I say, if someone doesn't get in on this book, we're going to be starting the next one. So if they don't get in on this one, they can get in on the third one, and so on and so forth.
So you don't have a specific theme per se. They're wow stories. How do you work out which ones to include and which ones, say, would be for another volume?
Well, I haven't had to face that yet.
Okay.
So because all of the stories that with the people I chose to be in this book and who chose to be with me, I didn't have to turn anyone back or away or anything. They were, like I say, the stories are wonderful, and they're such a variety. There's just something for everyone. My friend's 95-year-old mother read the book cover to cover, and she phoned me and she said, "Oh, those stories. I read every word." Actually, she's 96 now. And and she just loved it. So, and
I'm curious. This is curator to curator. Did you find there was a bit of a golden thread running through all the stories? I mean, your wow, obviously, but was there anything more specific than that? Because we did not have a specific theme, but hey, we had a golden thread running through all of them.
Well, the theme was wow. So, we have, so there is a wow element to every story. So some of it are more fun wows, and some were a little more tragic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's stories of resilience. There's stories of empowerment. There's stories of doing for other people and helping memories. Like I said, the teddy bears is just wonderful. And you know, it's, you know, teddy bears really do talk is the name of the title.
Oh, love it.
And
Love it.
it's just so good. And like I say, I'm not mentioning all the authors. I wish I could, but I can't. But all the stories are equally wonderful. And
in other words, buy the book.
Yeah, and I think people will enjoy it. I mean, I haven't met anybody who said they didn't. So, which is kind of wonderful. I mean, not every story is for every person.
No.
Just like not every book is for every person, you know? So that's why there's millions of them on Amazon and in the world.
And as you were saying, the thing with the joy with anthologies is you can dip in and out. It's not just because you don't like the first chapter, you're not going to read anything else. That's
Exactly.
See that one. Let's have a look at that one. Absolutely. Beautiful. Okay, then. So, Deborah, winding up then, can you share with us some form of wisdom, openness, and wonder that you have taken your written words and brought them to life? What are your strategies? Give us a single nugget that helps us to do that.
Well, for me, I think I use quite a combination. I actually let the story come to me. I just kind of don't force anything out of it. A lot of it, some stuff is downloads. The title, Live Life in WoW, Wonder, Openness, and Wisdom, that was a literal download. I was told that I was supposed to do events, and then COVID hit. And I went, okay, well, now what, you guys? Like, how am I going to do events? And they said, you're going to write a book. And I said, what? Pardon? Who's writing a book?
You are.
That was before any of the others. And so I went, I am? Yes. And that's how it come. So as for the stories, my stories in all of these books are all real life experiences. I've had quite a bit of experience by this time. And some of them are funny in some of the books, and some of them aren't. There's funny elements because I believe we have to find the humor. Just like I believe we have to find the wow in every situation. And it's easy to find wow when, you know, I can find the wow in this wonderful interview with you. I'm just having a great time. So that's easy. I can find the wow in many, many things. But sometimes trying to find the wow when it hasn't been a good experience, that's tough. But when we look for it, we will find it. And that's what makes it easier and better. And the next time we have a not so fun experience, when we focus on finding the wow in it, it somehow alleviates some of it. Yes. So it comes to me, I'll just sit in quiet and just let it come. Sometimes I'll just kind of doodle and scribble, and then it starts to come. And sometimes I just get up and walk away and say, you know what, today's not my day. But when it comes, if you're ready and you're listening, it comes, and it comes together. So that's what works for me. And I don't know what it's like for people who write fiction, but I would think for some people it's similar. You know, you get that little light bulb moment, and then, oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? Oh, I could add this. Oh, the reader would like to know that part.
I know my fiction friends have post-its. So they do like a story arc, and they'll put post-its up all over the place. I want to include this, I want to include that, I want to include that. But then they then sort of put it up on a wall or a whiteboard so that they can map out the progression of the story. So that's right. Must be a little bit.
And I'm doing that for the book that I'm writing that's my own.
Okay.
Because the book that I'm writing that's my own is a whole different, it's a whole different book. So
when's that coming out?
Well, I'm hoping before Christmas. I'm maybe even sooner. It's partially written.
Have it out in November, then it's a Christmas present.
Well, yeah.
Come on, use your marketing head, Mrs.
That's what we did with this one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, December 10th, right?
It's the timing.
So that was, yeah.
I mean, ours making a difference. because we're based in Asia, Australasia, the 8th of the 8th. 8, as you know, is a really auspicious, abundant number in the Chinese way of doing things. So making a difference, ways to magnify abundance, vitality, and freedom. Hello, it had to be that date. So yeah, it's really exciting. But yeah, so we've got a solo book coming up this year. Have you got the title for that?
Yes. Do you want it?
Exclusive.
It's called The Bully Lives Within.
Oh, now that's a powerful title. Whoa, I've just gone goosey hearing that.
It's not going to be a big, long book either.
Right.
Because I want to get it into the schools. I want to get it into people's hands. And I don't, our brains move quickly now with all the social media and everything. I don't feel for something like this, people want to read a long book. So I think it's going to be powerful. I think it's going to be of huge, immense value to people of all ages.
Oh, Deborah, as I said, I've gone goosey at the thought of it. And as you're talking, the goosiness has continued. So this will be brilliant. So we've got the solo book coming out, The Bully Within. You've got your Wow Pearl, and possibly another Wow before the end of the year, depending on how things go. What's the next gemstone? We've got nuggets, we've got pearls.
Maybe we'll make it diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, they say.
So they are.
Or emeralds. I love emeralds. And sapphires. I love sapphires. I think
there you go. That's then giving you the coloring for your book cover.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so we've got plenty of stuff in the offing. Now we will put in the show notes for this on YouTube and on the other platforms when we get up on there, all the information as to how we can get hold of you. So you're available on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta?
Not Instagram.
Not Instagram.
No, okay. I have my website. I reach me through my website.
Yep.
And yeah, those are the best ways. Before we go, may I offer a little gift to your audience?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well, for anyone that's listening that contacts me either by LinkedIn or by subscribing to my YouTube channel, which that'll be there too, which I'd love for you to do, because there's going to be lots about the WOW books. There's some other really good stuff on there. So please go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe and watch the videos, and for at least 5 minutes of each video or a video. Don't cut it off before then. And I think you'll find some pretty unique information and some good stuff there. And let me know when you've subscribed and or when you've bought the book. And I'm going to give you an ebook copy of the first version, the first Live Life and Wow Nuggets of Wonder, Openness, and Wisdom. So that'll be my gift to your audience. So the reason they have to contact me that way is because I'm actually going to individually send them out. There's not going to be a big mass thing. There's not going to be somewhere where they go and have to sign up. They can just get a hold of me, and I'm going to send them the book when I know that they've subscribed or they've joined me as a contact on LinkedIn. So
brilliant.
That's a little way to say
send a screenshot. Send a screenshot to Deborah so that we know that it's legit, and we can go from there. How exciting. Perfect. Thank you so much, Deborah. That is very generous of you.
Thank you.
Very generous of you. And that then, folks, is what we are doing today. So we will see you again on the next episode. Thank you so much, Deborah, for sharing with us your From Page to Stage. For now, bye from us.
Thanks, Wendy.